Among those secrets was a forgotten film, one that never saw the light of day, but as the digital age dawned, whispers about it began to circulate among the youth. Among those secrets was a forgotten film, one that never saw the light of day, but as the digital age dawned, whispers about it began to circulate among the youth. Lila, a curious 15-year-old, had always been fascinated by the abandoned movie theater known as the Eldridge Cinema. It was an old, decrepit building, long since eaten away by the elements and time. The towering marquee had fallen into disrepair, the once bright lights now flickering with uncertainty. But it was the stories that drew her in. Tales of a horror film shot in the late 90s, one that had never been released due to a series of mysterious accidents during its production. Legend had it that anyone who attempted to screen the film would suffer horrific consequences. Yet, the allure of this forbidden movie was irresistible to Lila and her friends. So, on a crisp autumn evening, armed with flashlights and an old laptop, they hatched a plan to break into the Eldridge Cinema and seek out the fabled film. "Are we sure about this?" Ryan, Lila's cautious friend, asked, glancing uneasily at the shuttered entrance. "Come on," Lila urged, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "What if it's all true? Just imagine if we find it. We'll be legends in this town." Quote. With a deep breath, Ryan nodded, and the group made their way through the cracked door, greeted by a wave of dust and the smell of mildew. The theater, once a hub of laughter and entertainment, was now a museum of forgotten stories. Broken seats lay strewn about, and cobwebs hung like tattered curtains over the screen. They ventured deeper into the building, illuminating the dark corners with their flashlights. It didn't take long for them to find the projection room, littered with old reels and equipment. In the farthest corner, a dusty canister caught Lila's eye. She brushed aside the dust, her heart racing with excitement as she read the faded label. "Hush, do not scream." Quote, "Is this it?" she breathed, holding the canister closer to her chest. As night fell, they set up their laptops, connecting an old projector they had scavenged. Lila's pulse quickened. "We're about to witness the impossible." Quote, the moment the film flickered to life, the atmosphere shifted, a palpable tension filling the air. The screen glowed with grainy black and white footage, showing a group of friends laughing and jostling among themselves, just like Lila and her friends. But soon, something sinister took hold of the narrative. A figure dressed in rags loomed in the background, watching the group with an unsettling intensity. Each time they laughed, the shadow seemed to grow darker. Classic horror, Ryan scoffed, still unsure why they had even decided to watch it. But as the footage progressed, the atmosphere around them thickened, becoming heavier, suffocating. A sense of foreboding wrapped around Lila like a cold embrace. The laughter on the screen turned to screaming, and the friends were seen tearing through the woods, pursued by that same figure. Each frame became increasingly graphic. A terrible accident unfolded, flashing images of twisted limbs and shocked faces. Suddenly, the screen cut to black, and an eerie silence fell upon them. The only sound was the low hum of the faulty projector. Then, a muffled thud echoed from behind them. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her face pale. "Probably just the old building settling," Lila replied, her voice trembling in defiance of her rising panic. But as they turned back to the screen, something sinister lurked in the shadows of the room. The film sprang back to life with a ferocious jolt, showing the same gate where the friends had been attacked. The shadowy figure now stood closer, just outside the frame, as if beckoning them. "Oh my God, stop it," Ryan shouted, yanking at the projector. But it wouldn't turn off. The shadows danced across the walls, spilling out from the screen itself, twisting and contorting until they finally took shape. Lila screamed as the figure stepped forth. It wore a malevolent grin, eyes hollow yet shimmering with something unspeakable. "You shouldn't have watched," it whispered, the voice barely above a haunting breeze. In a frenzied panic, Lila and her friends dashed out of the projection room, sprinting through the haze of memories that swirled around the cinema. They fled the building, hearts pounding, the sensation of icy breath trailing behind them. Outside, under the moonlit sky, they stopped to catch their breath, the surface of dread rising within them. But Lila's hand trembled as she realized the canister was still clutched tightly in her grasp. "Lila, we need to get rid of that thing," Sarah urged, but the air around them was thick with a dark whisper. "Why, it's just a movie, right?" Lila's voice wavered. "You don't understand. It's not just a film, it has been cursed." The winds shifted, chilling their bones, and shadows loomed as they raced farther away from the theater, vowing never to speak of what they had seen again. Though deep down, Lila knew that the film had bonded itself with her, and no matter how far she ran, it was all she would ever be able to think about. As the days turned to weeks, Lila found herself haunted by her encounter. It wasn't the horror of the film that plagued her, no. It was the twisted smile of the figure, which appeared in the reflection of every dark window, in every shadowy corner. Every night, she braced herself for sleep, praying that the whispers wouldn't grow louder, that she could forget, but the film was never far off. Then one night, the whispers ceased altogether. In their absence, a shadow slipped ominously from the dark corners of her room. As the figure stepped into the pale moonlight, it whispered back to her the words she had been longing to escape. "You shouldn't have watched," and with that, Lila understood, unseen scars etched into the fabric of her mind, forever marking her as part of a story that would never truly end.